Hi, thanks for joining me. I'm Chris Maragakis of Simply Be Wellbeing. I'm a women's life coach, podcaster and speaker, and wellbeing provider. I'm also a mindfulness and meditation teacher. Welcome to Mindful Mutterings. Please like, share and subscribe, and thanks for listening. Hi, how are you? I think really what I've noticed in the last couple of weeks is that it's just getting busier and busier. And while we're living in this crazy busy world, it's becoming increasingly more important to find ways to stay grounded and balanced. And one really powerful way of doing this is mindfulness. And lots of people don't really understand what mindfulness is, or they think it's just, having no thoughts and relaxing. But it's not. Mindfulness is the art of being fully present in the moment without judgment. So it allows us to develop a deep sense of awareness, which then helps us to know and understand ourselves better, and then changes our approach and interactions with the world around us. Because whatever we think then forms our thoughts and our actions, and our thoughts and our actions shape our world. And that's how we continue living. So until we become aware of what we're thinking and how we're responding to people, we don't really know what's working for us and what we need to change. So it's about how we cultivate that awareness, really, or how we create the space in our day to tune into ourselves. So I wanted to kind of explore with you some free, easy to apply techniques and tips on how to practice mindfulness and how it can be incorporated into our daily lives. So we don't need any special equipment, and all the strategies I'm going to talk about can be done pretty much anywhere. So let's get started. First one, start with the breath. I mean, it's free, it's there. And one of the simplest and most effective ways to practice mindfulness is just by tuning into your breath. When we just take a few moments every day to sit somewhere quiet and bring our attention to our breath, it brings such a feeling of calm and serenity. And also, most of us don't breathe properly at all. We all breathe very shallowly. So when we actually start to focus in on our breath, and we're not judging it, we're not trying to change it, we're just using it as an anchor, it just makes us aware of maybe in the rest of the day how we can bring more well-being into our life by changing the way that we do breathe. So, like I said, we're not trying to change it or control it. We just want to become aware of its gentle rhythm, how it feels when the breath enters the body and when it leaves the body. And we're observing without judgment. So all the thoughts that arise while we're doing our breath work, we're just going to allow them to come and go. So something will come up. You can't stop thinking. In fact, we don't want to stop thinking. What we want to do is quieten everything down so that our thoughts no longer control us, and so that we become aware of some of those more quiet thoughts so that they can rise to the surface. And then just with curiosity, we can observe them, and that's how we start to learn more about ourselves. And I feel more relaxed just saying this, so I hope you're not driving when you're listening to this, and if you are, wake up and pay attention. But anyway, this practice really helps us to ground in the present moment and calm the mind. So yeah, you can just observe the breath without any judgment and without any control on it, or you can use the breath as the focus and you can control it that way. So if you're struggling with just watching your breath and observing it, then maybe you could draw a square while you're breathing, so in your mind or on your hand. As you breathe in, you draw a line up. As you breathe out, you draw a line across. In again, you bring a line down, and out you bring the line across. And what that helps us to do, especially if we're new to the practice, is just helps us to start to form some kind of boundary for our practice to begin, and then that helps us to quieten our minds as well. So good luck with them. Then number 2, body scanning. So body scanning is a technique that involves us deliberately bringing our attention to different parts of the body. And we begin by focusing on our toes, and we gradually work our way up the body to the top of our head. And we're just becoming aware of any sensations or tensions or areas of relaxation that we're finding as we work through each body part. And we're just observing it and accepting what we find. We're not trying to change anything. It's not that we're trying to make ourselves calm, or it's not that we're trying to relax. We're just trying to become mindful. We're just starting to get our brain to start paying attention without judgment. And so yeah, so you'd work on your toes, and then maybe your the bones in your feet, and then your ankle and your shins and your knees, and you get the idea. You work your way all the way through the body and just become aware of what you notice. Then there's practicing mindful eating, and for lots of us, because life is so busy, we rush through meals without savouring the experience, or we're not eating very well. And in fact, I would imagine that we've all been guilty at some point of literally shoveling it in while we're doing something else, especially if it's snacks. I mean, hands up, those of us that can eat a whole packet of something while watching TV or working on the computer and not even notice we're doing it, or even taste or appreciate it. Yep, me too. Having said that, though, calories still notice. But mindful eating involves bringing full attention to the act of eating and engaging all our senses. So we slow right down. We savour each bite. We notice the flavours, the textures, the smells. And being fully present with our food without distraction, so no TV, no screen of any kind, no talking either to do this effectively. And obviously you wouldn't necessarily do that every meal, but it does make us more aware of the process of nurturing and refueling our body, so that when we are on our own, we can fully engage with our food and the process of nourishing ourselves. And when we're with others, we can make an effort to pay more attention to our meal. But obviously, we would expect to be talking then. But this practice not only enhances our enjoyment of our meals, but it also promotes a healthier relationship with food. Because we become aware of what we're eating and how we're eating and where our food has come from, we become more interested in what we're putting into our bodies, and we start to become aware, without us even really doing anything, of our relationship with food. When we start to eat, why we overeat, all of those type of things, where we need to control food in our life. And that gives us a huge insight to who we are. And that, of course, once we understand that, can help us to find balance around food. And then we come to cultivating gratitude. So this is one of my favourites because it is just so incredibly powerful. Not just for becoming more mindful, but also because it has the power to literally rewrite our brain, and it is the jackpot emotion in improving well-being. And really, all you have to do is take a few moments each day to reflect or list a few things that you're grateful for. I mean, it could be as simple as the warmth of the sun on your skin, or having running water, or maybe even that you have the technology to be able to listen to my mindful mutterings. But I mean, joking aside, shifting our focus to the positive things in our lives means that we're training our brains to be more present and appreciative of the present moment. And we're raising our vibration, which keeps us healthier and happier, which in turn helps us to self-regulate more effectively. And this is especially powerful because from a very young age, we are taught to look for what we don't have rather than be grateful for what we do have. So this practice in itself will have huge implication in the way you think about life and the way you start to view your priorities. It really is. It's a mega practice. I can't big it up enough. And then we have how we integrate our mindfulness into our daily activities. So while it's really good to have a dedicated mindfulness practice of some kind, maybe that is sitting down and doing a formal gratitude practice, or the mindful eating, or sitting with the breath, it's really useful. It's just as important, actually, to incorporate mindfulness into our everyday activities for maximum benefit. And pretty much anything that we do can be done mindfully, because all it really means is just paying attention. So whether it's brushing our teeth, taking a shower, or walking to work, give it your full attention. Notice the sensations, smells, and sounds associated with whatever it is that you're doing. And in doing this, we train our brain to remain focused. And so we get more of an experience of everything that we do. And because we're more present and we're totally involved in an experience rather than living in the future or living in the past, we become less stressed. And that helps us to feel less overwhelmed, because it's absolutely impossible to feel those ways when you are in the present moment. All of which then results in a calmer, more peaceful life. And each moment becomes viewed with clarity. Instead of being on autopilot and being triggered into everything that we do, we have an opportunity to be present and to choose how to respond. And that gives us an amazing amount of control over our life. And when we have this clarity of the way that we interact with the world, it just becomes a beautiful and enriching way to journey through our life. So I guess what what I want you to take away from it is that practicing mindfulness is a journey that requires patience, commitment, and self-compassion. And self-compassion, because it is a practice. That means we won't be amazing at it straight away. But if we keep at it, it will become easier and it slides gracefully into our everyday lives. So be kind to yourself. Be patient. Be aware that you are on an empowering journey, and that by incorporating these techniques into our daily life, we can gradually cultivate a greater sense of awareness, and we can start to feel that inner peace. And that then helps us to see things as they are. And that when we can see things as they are without any frustration around it or wanting it to be a different way, then we can see a solution. Solutions present themselves easier because we're not forcing our will upon them. And that in turn then creates less stress in our life, less anxiety, less angst, and helps us just to become much more balanced and calm and centered and practiced. So take a moment each day to pause, breathe, and embrace the joy of the present moment. Because remember, mindfulness is not about perfection. It's just about the intention to be fully present and engaged in every moment of our lives. It doesn't matter what your belief system is. Right now, we only have this moment, this life. So just enjoy every moment of it. Look for the joy, experience it all in its fullness, and just enjoy being on this incredible ride. So, as always, if you've got any comments, or you'd like to contact me about more work on mindfulness, or you'd like to learn to meditate, or you want to maybe start your coaching practice so that you can find ways to incorporate this and change your mindset and use mindfulness to empower you to be calmer and less stressed, then please get in touch. Excuse me, my website is simplybe.org.uk. And yeah, whatever you're doing this week, take a pause, take a breath, and just find the joy in something that you're doing. And as always, thank you very much for listening. Take care.